What's going on, everybody? Aiden from Birds vs. Boys here. I don't ever want to hear about Jalen Hurts and his passing ability ever again. I don't ever want to hear about Kyle Hamilton over Jordan Davis ever again. I don't ever want to hear the words tush push or tush push merchant ever again, because the Eagles, because they are winners, took care of business today in remarkable comeback fashion. And you should have known it was going to happen as soon as the Eagles scored and Jalen Hurts went over and started hyping up the defense. You knew you were in trouble. It was like watching Bane rally the troops. In that moment, Eagles take care of business. 2 blocked field goals. Oh my goodness. Shout out to Jordan Davis. How are we possibly supposed to come down from this? How are we supposed to possibly just go about our days and go to work tomorrow on a Monday after a win like this, where you block a field goal to win it and go down and return it? Oh my God. Oh my God. What an instant classic. What a comeback for the ages. And it is all because of Jalen Winner Hurts and the offense staying here. In the first half, they were absolutely dreadful. And then in the second half, it starts with, on the first play, they have a turnover in their side of the field. And then it is the next play is a touchdown for the Rams. So the first 2 plays of the half are turnover by the Eagles on offense and touchdown by the Rams on offense. Doesn't matter. Because after that, Jalen Hurts was 18 for 28, over 200 yards passing, and 3 TDs. He was absolutely remarkable in what he needed to accomplish today in that second half. And hey, I know it was not by choice and it was by force, but we started throwing the ball, and look what happened. Look what we were able to do. We remembered that DeVonta Smith and A.J. Brown, hey, they're pretty good at this catching the ball thing. And what a key, as it always is, getting A.J. Brown involved. And when they got A.J. Brown involved, he was so good with using his strong hands, any one-on-one opportunity that he had of securing that catch, even in tough situations, on third downs, at the sticks, everything that you asked for him. He was so good at that today when they needed it the most. DeVonta Smith, again, exceptional as well. And it just felt like, remember when you were a kid and you had those bath bombs and it was like a little ball and it would turn into some cool dinosaur, and that was like the coolest thing in the world to you when you were when you were 5 years old? It felt like that drive when the Eagles got down 26-7 and they had to throw the ball and they had to hurry to get back into the game. It feels like they turned into that bath bomb. And they saw the dinosaur and they saw how cool it was. And they're like, oh, yeah, we could probably do this. Like, this is fun to do. We should do this all the time. That's exactly what they did. And they went right down the field, a 40-yard ball to A.J. Brown, and then right down the seam to Dallas Goedert. And they were at 26-14. And albeit there was still a lot of work for both sides of the ball, plus special teams foreshadowing to accomplish. But in that moment, it felt like they kind of unlocked something. And they kind of started to believe in themselves again in the passing game. So I thought that was the key because, again, it just unlocked something. It was like a mental barrier, a mental block that they were able to get over in that moment. And boy, did that continue for the rest of the half. What a gamer Jalen Hurts is. 5 for 8. 5 for 8 on third downs, including the big balls, fourth down, DeVonta Smith touchdown grab to give them the lead 27-26 with less than 2 minutes to go. And the Rams had already used 2 timeouts when they were getting down the field. Jalen Hurts finished 21 for 32, 226, 3 touchdowns, a rush TD, and 40 yards. Most of that damage was done in the second half. You now see what we believe this offense could be, and they did it all in the second half against a really, really good Rams team, and it just felt it. I have been on the opposite side of this so many times in sports. When you're on the road and you just feel the momentum of the home team gaining and gaining and gaining, and it feels like a locomotive steam engine is heading straight at you, and there isn't much that you can do. We were on the opposite side of that. We were on the positive side of that today. You could feel it in every moment in that game with the fourth down stop that the Eagles had on 4th and 2. Well, on the first block field goal, you felt it. Even when the Eagles, and I didn't even mind how aggressive they were, they got stopped on 4th and 5 in that second half after they had gotten a stop and gave the ball back to the Rams, but they were able to hold yet again. They kept holding them to field goals, holding them on 4th downs. I thought they did such a great job, but you just felt that momentum. And it just opened everything up, and you just feel the crowd once again getting into it again and again and again, and just like inch by inch towards the end. again, like I mentioned at the top, the Rams scored on the second play of the second half to get them 26 points. They would not score again in the second half. Absolute dominance in all three phases of the game. It is a great, not even subtle reminder of what championship caliber football this team can play. And we lost track of it in the first 2 weeks because of the drama around the tush push and because of the lack of a passing game. But now, when you unlock that element of this offense and you see those two weapons in DeVonta Smith and A.J. Brown get involved the way they did, with A.J. Brown having over 100 yards and a touchdown. Again, just like Jalen Hurts, most of that damage coming in the second half. Dallas Goedert having a touchdown as well. You see the litany of weapons that they have and they can utilize, that there are just so many different ways that they can beat you. And one of those ways is getting behind that offensive line, which they could not today because Lane Johnson had a stinger. And one of the keys to the game, Matt Pryor comes into the game for Lane Johnson. They struggle. They give up a sack right away. The second half starts. They give up a sack, which is a strip sack right away. They go to Fred Johnson from there, and the offense just totally unloaded. He was able to handle that moment under pressure in a lot of situations where the Rams knew that we were going to be throwing the football. He was key in that because Jared Verse played great, as he always does against the Eagles, but he is still 0-3 against this Eagles team. And I saw you, Jared Verse. Like I said, I respect you, but I could read your lips at halftime, and I saw you doing that belt-to-ass celebration, and I saw you mouth the words belt-to-ass. What happened after that? What happened after halftime? Because there was not a lot of belt-to-ass going on in that second half. It was going the opposite way. We saw you. We saw you. We respect you, but we saw you, and we see your record against the Eagles, 0-3 now. Again, just an incredible performance. I don't think it can be said enough about Jordan Davis and his performance in each and every game this season. In week one, he was kind of just thrown into the fire, even though he's a fourth-year player, because Jalen Carter wasn't there, so he had to play 50-plus snaps, which was something that he wasn't accustomed to. But still, that was a big thing for him because the whole narrative around this offseason was that he was in the best shape of his life, that he had lost weight so that he could be in a situation where he could play more snaps and he could be more effective because he was thinner. Well, he was able to play 50-plus snaps in that first week. Second week, they come back against Kansas City. He was really, really dominant, him and Jalen Carter both. And then today, he not only was he dominant on defense, but he blocks 2 kicks on special teams as well. And him returning that field goal block to end the game and to seal it, what a moment, what a monumental moment that was. But it felt like just an absolute cap of him just for sure in this moment now, us saying to ourselves, yeah, this kid's a stud. This kid has figured it out. We nailed it with this draft pick as well. We knew it on all the Georgia kids like Jalen Carter and like Nolan Smith, but this is now you're 3 for 3 on that line. There's nothing else you can say. Jordan Davis is an absolute stud. And I thought the whole defense as a whole, like I said, played really, really well because they were in a situation where they were behind the sticks a lot. And not when I say behind the sticks, I mean in terms of where the average starting field position was, that the Rams were constantly getting the ball at the 35, 40-yard line to start the drive. So they were 20 yards max from field goal range to start every single drive. Whereas the Eagles were struggling and were getting the ball at the 10 to 15-yard line. We've got our return guys not able to field these kicks and putting us behind the sticks in that sense, where like the 10 or the 15-yard line. So that average field position, which was a big detail in that game, special teams-wise, was coming back to bite them, but the defense was able to hold again and again, even if it was just holding them to a field goal because they really just didn't have any yardage to work with. You had key plays from everybody down to Jacorian Bennett, who had to come in for Adoree Jackson, who got hurt and left early with a quad or a groin injury, and we needed him most because he was stuck on Puka Nacua in the crux of the game, and I thought he performed pretty well. On that last drive, before you had the situation where they kicked the field goal, they tried to get a few more yards, and they went to Puka Nacua in that play, and Jacorian Bennett was there. So you're just getting, again, just nonstop contributions, next man up contributions. It was phenomenal football. Now, A.J. Brown, alive, good at football. Who would have thought? Who would have saw it coming? I do think this is a stepping stone for the rest of the season. I think it puts the league on watch, and I think this is just I played golf today, and I think any golfer would experience this, and any inexperienced golfer has experienced this because I'm very, very bad. You go out and you feel a little nervous and you don't feel confident in your game because if you haven't played in a while, or if you're not good at golf, or even if you are good at golf, it's just a really frustrating game. When you go out and play the first few holes, at least maybe in my experience, I don't feel confident in myself hitting the ball. I don't feel confident keeping the ball straight. I don't feel confident in anything, and just being able to read the greens, read the fair, anything. And I think you can kind of see that in the Eagles for the first few games is they were trying to find themselves on offense again with a new offensive coordinator, and it just didn't feel like they were confident in themselves. And sometimes all it takes is one hole in the golf course where you hit it just right, and you're like, oh, got it. Okay, I feel better now. Like, okay, that's how I should swing. This is how it should look. This is how I'll do it going forward. And usually you start to build on that. For the Eagles, it feels very, very similar. Again, it wasn't by choice. It was kind of forced right now. But they were put in this crux in position where they were down 26-7. They just had to throw the ball to pick up chunk yards in a hurry. And on that first drive, again, they were able to throw the ball downfield to the A.J. Brown for the first time all year. They scored a touchdown on that drive, and it just felt like, oh, okay, this is what we can do. These are some plays that would work. This is how we can get our best weapons involved in the passing game. They did all of that, and they did it really successfully for the rest of the half. I also thought it was really crucial that the intermediate passing game, where how many times were they in the first half and you're 3rd and 12s because they couldn't establish the run, they couldn't get anything, and then they're trying to throw everything at a 3rd and 12. Whereas the second half, a lot of those were 3rd and 4s. Think about it, even at the end of the game, down at the goal line, they had the ball near the 10-yard line. They pass it to Saquon to get themselves down to the 4-yard line, and then they had 2 shots from the 4 to be able to get it in from the end zone. That's a lot easier to accomplish than constantly being in a 3rd and goal from the 10. They did that a lot in the second half. These intermediate throws where they're just like, there's open space, let's get it to our best player. That way we're not behind the 6 constantly. We're in 3rd and 4 instead of 3rd and 9. And even when they were in 3rd and 10, some of the plays that A.J. Brown and this team were able to make, my God, I mean, the one that he had where it was 3rd and 10, he catches it near the sticks. He has an incredible catch right there. And not only does he make a strong hand catch with the defender on him trying to rip it away, but then he pivots, turns, and gets an additional 15 yards after that. My God, it was just really, really impressive stuff to watch. And I thought everybody also improved as the game went around. Even on the defensive side of the ball, they were giving up chunk yards in the run game. And it felt like they were able to settle themselves because the offense settled themselves. They were not in contain. They were allowing Kyren Williams and Blake Corum to get to the outside, bounce it outside. The Rams are a really good blocking and run scheme team. And because of that, they were bouncing a lot of things outside, turning it into 9 or 10-yard gains, and the Eagles were just, getting gashed a little bit there. They figured that out in the second half, but I think a lot of that was them being able to just take a deep breath once the offense was able to figure themselves out. So, my God, again, what an incredible game. It takes all 3 facets to be a championship-level team, and that's exactly what they were today. This was an absolute instant classic in that second half. It's one of those games where you watch and you're like, oh, yeah, this is why I love football. And I love that moment for Jordan Davis and for the rest of those guys and just for everybody. Like I said, this was a moment where all week the Eagles were 2-0. They were defending Super Bowl champions. They go into the half. They're getting booed. And the narrative around this team is that Jalen Hurts is some glorified running back. It's all they are successful, and the only reason that they're successful is because of the tush push. And they come out today in that second half, and they turn on the Jets, and they turn on the momentum against you. They start throwing the ball successfully. They get their weapons involved. And oh no, here, the bullet train has left the station, and there's nothing that the Rams could do. They beat them again. This was the Rams Super Bowl in September, 2-0, talking about how they should have won that playoff game a year ago. They lose again. Get off our field again. It's yet another time that you should have been here, that you thought you could have won, and you lost. Again, we're done. We've had enough sample size. We're just better than you are. Last year in November, last year in January, this year in September. It's 3 times in a calendar year. We might just be better than this Rams team. And as much as Sean McVay gets credit, I think there are a lot of strategic things within the second half of that game. and just from an aggressiveness and assertiveness point of view that Rams fans are probably going to be really unhappy with him. But boy, oh boy, are we happy as Eagles fans after that comeback. Incredible stuff. Incredible. I would not want to have anybody else in that moment in the league than Jalen Hurts. And it proved again today. Like I said, I want to end it how I started it. This was the moment. And if you've watched sports enough, you know there's a handful of guys in every single sport. When you see that look, when you see the way they start acting, you know something special is about to happen. It happened today. Jalen Hurts, who we see as a very calm, steady guy, they scored the touchdown to make it 26-14. They scored again to go 26-21. And he was at the defense, dapping every guy up, hyping them up, going to everybody on the offense, going to the offensive line, going to the coaching staff, telling them this is what we need to do. That was a psychotic menace in the best way because it was the winner way. And you knew something special was going to happen in that moment. He leads them down the field for the game-winning touchdown, and the defense and the special teams held them enough for it to be able to happen. We'll be back this week with more coverage. Well, the Eagles now go to play the 3-0 Bucks down at Citi Field South down there in Tampa, the other place where we go where we can never seem to win. But I'm now feeling of the utmost confidence in this team based on their performance in that second half. We have so much more to react to from this game. There's so many different series plays, everything from it, that there just feels like there's so much to cover that we'll do so this week. We actually have a special interview. I'm going to be talking to him on Tuesday night, Shane Half, who is one of the best people to talk to in terms of all 22 breakdowns. He analyzes the all 22 film from every game. Man, oh man, do we have a lot to talk about the all 22 film coming from the discrepancy from the first half to the second half of this game. Looking forward to that. And what can the Eagles take from this win against the Rams to propel it forward on another championship run and starting on Sunday down in Tampa, a place where they have struggled in the past. Can't wait for it all. Eagles win again, because why not? That is what they do. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. Upset alert.
I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone.
Hope.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is?
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year! This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.